Hey there, YouTube. Ghost Jake here with you today. How is your day going today or your night? Anyway, I just got done watching The Exorcist, Season 1, Episode 3. So, here's the picture. Even though this is the Exorcist 3 I'm holding in my hand currently. But I couldn't find the original one to give you guys a better picture. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into the review. And 3, 2, 1, I'm back. Now here we go. Let me put this back really fast. Okay. Now, this time I did not take any notes on the TV show like I did last week, so I apologize if I might have missed something important or forgot. I'm just going to try to do this one off the top of my head since I just literally watched it. Okay? Now it starts off in another flashback, right? But this isn't a flashback of Father Marcus. This time it's a flashback. Excuse me. This time it's a flashback of Catherine and how she actually, and what happened and how she actually got in her car accident, right? Anyway, and then it shows her driving and she's talking to this another girl and it all seems going good. And then when she gets in the car accident, this guy just seems to appear in the middle of the road and then she crashes. So this is part of the flashback. But with this being The Exorcist, is that guy just some random guy? Or is it a demon possessing someone in case a demon was wanting Catherine earlier on in the flashback, right? Now, then it goes back into the present, right? And then we see Catherine and Casey in this store. I believe this part happened before the other part I'm going to mention. So anyway, if I got it mixed up, I deeply apologize. But as long as you guys get the review. Well, Catherine and Casey are in this store. And they're buying some clothes for the funeral service for Catherine's friend who got in the car accident. And Casey's trying on some clothes, and then the guy in the suit shows up, but which I know is the spirit or the demon in disguise gaining Casey's trust. He shows up in the store and helps her pick out some stuff, right? Then we either jump forward or backwards. Like I said, I can't remember if this scene I'm going to talk about next happened before the scene I just mentioned, or if it happened afterwards. That's the only downside about not taking notes. We see Casey and Catherine's mom in this like parking lot, meeting some priests because like the archbishop or someone is showing up, right? And then the archbishop is showing up, and then we see this guy preaching about something, right? Okay. And then her mom is just like, yeah, talks to the security people. It's like, see what he can get that guy to go away. And then she greets the two priests, and then they go in to this building. And I might have missed something else, but I'm going to mention it right now in the order. We see Father Marcus at the scene of the crime, at a crime scene where all those people got killed. I believe I mentioned that in my last review in episode 2, right? And he's wanting to know what exactly happened. And these two guys tell him everything he needs to know pretty much. Okay. And then we see go to this like priest dining room table full of all of these different priests. Like Father Thomas is there, Father like Bennett, and a whole bunch of other ones and a whole bunch of other ones are there also. And they end up talking about some of the stuff that's been happening, right? And they're concerned about the Archbishop's safety because of the murder that happened. Then, while they're eating, they get their attention drawn to the window, and this guy, I think it might actually be the exact same preacher, the guy who was preaching. I have to rewatch that to double check later on, once it gets onto Hulu. If it does, that is. I'm pretty sure it is. It's going to. Then we see this guy, he's just on fire. Like fire. Right? And then he just falls down. And then we have a very interesting scene. Coming up, we have Father Marcus. He is investigating. He's walking around. He is walking around Casey and Catherine's house, like looking for evidence or looking for anything that is out of the ordinary, right? And he's just looking around. You don't think he actually finds anything at first, but later on in the episode, he does. So now we're getting to some interesting parts coming up. I'm sorry. Not a lot happened right in this episode in the very beginning, and this was kind of a slow building. episode, but it does get more exciting, so don't you worry about that. Then we see Father Marcus. We see everyone in the church. Casey's mom, dad. I don't think Catherine is there. Right? And we see Father Thomas and Father Marcus in this room with Casey. And Father Marcus is setting up recording equipment because they want to question Casey about if she has done anything supernatural. And Father Thomas is like, puts a picture of this, has a picture of a pen, and is like, can you move this? And Casey is kind of just grabs the pen. It's like, no, I want you to try to move it with like your mind or something. But that's not going to happen. One, because the demon's not in control at the moment. It's just her. He's off doing whatever the hell he's doing. Right? And then Father Marcus is like, okay. Thomas, you go sit down. I'm going to ask her a series of questions. And then we see Father Thomas question Casey, right? Questioning Casey. And he reveals that he was snooping around in her room and shows a picture of this. Like broken mirror, but the mirror looks like it's really, really old, like an antique mirror. Like, where did you get this, Casey? And then he opens the mirror and shows that it's cracked. It's like, oh, that's 7 years of bad luck, right? And then we see Mr. Demon, the guy in the suit, come on, and he's instructing Casey not to talk about anything. And then we see Father Thomas start to speak to Casey in another language, but Casey before that says, the salesman gave it to her, and then Father Thomas gets in Casey's face and is instructing the spirit inside of Casey to show itself. Right? To show itself. And then it actually does. It actually does listen. Because he's starting to piss it off. Which is quite understandable. But which is good because it provides them evidence that he's pissing it off and deciding to make it show itself. So, yeah, I think his intention at the very beginning was to provoke the demon into showing itself so they could gather evidence. And then it does, and then it's speaking in another language, which I'm pretty sure Casey has not learned at all. I believe Father Marcus said the language they were speaking in was Aramaic. If I said that right, I don't think I did, but oh well. Then, with all the evidence they think they gather, they go to the Archbishop and they're like, yeah, here's the evidence. Can we get the permission to perform the rite of exorcism? It's like, no, that's still not evidence. You need a lot of evidence to say that someone is possessed. But more importantly, I think part of the reason why they said no is because mainly Father Thomas lied and went behind the Archbishop's back, went behind his back and started investigating the exorcism when the Archbishop suggested from the very beginning that you should take Casey to a therapist. Right, and then Father Marcus is like, "Oh, come on. She's like speaking like Aramaic. I'm pretty sure they don't teach Aramaic in school nowadays." Right? Then, let's see. So no evidence for exorcism, sorry. And then we get to when they're getting ready to go to the funeral, and we see Casey in the bathroom with her new dress on, right? With her new dress on, and we see some like lumps in the back of her neck, or whatever they are. Now, what that means, what I got from that, from watching various of other exorcist shows and whatnot, is that the demon marked Casey to be his vessel. Because in another show I watched, they say there's usually 3 stages of possession before someone is actually possessed. Infestation, which a demon haunts its target. I believe they said it was oppression, where a demon or spirit marks its target, and then after that, actual possession. Now, if you want a reference to what show that was, I believe it was a show called I Was Possessed. I'm not entirely sure on that. And I think those are the actual 3 stages in real life. I have to do more research on that a little later to be 100% sure. Right? So we are winding down to where Casey, it looks like Casey's going to be the demon's vessel. So they're at this funeral service for Catherine and about Catherine's friend. All who are there are Casey, Catherine, her mom, and her dad. Right? And before that, I forgot one thing. When they were presenting the evidence to the Archbishop, Father Marcus got excommunicated. So he is no longer a priest, technically. And then while he's walking out of the church, you see him burn his excommunication papers, it looks like. So yeah. He's not going to follow the laws of the church, which means he's probably going to be in big, big trouble when they catch him. Anyway, now back to the funeral service. We see Casey, Catherine, all of them there. And Casey starts acting weird. Right, and then we see this hand come across her shoulder, right? And then it appears it is the demon touching her, but no one else can see it. Only Casey can see it, right? And then Casey has to leave during the funeral service. And so her father and Casey are on this bus, right? We're on this bus heading back to their house, probably. And not Father Thomas, I'm dumb. Her dad is talking to Casey about, oh, this was an important day for your sister, and you weren't acting very appropriately, and and then some people get on the bus, and like her dad passes out, so he can't do anything, right? And one of these people like wants to have sex with Casey because of the dress she's wearing. And I fucking called it while I was watching the show. I said to the guy, like, don't do that. You're going to piss it off. And boy, oh boy, was I right. All of a sudden, the lights start to flicker, and you see the demon, the guy in the suit, come up, and he kisses Casey on the lips, and then all of a sudden, the lights are flickering, and like he takes control of Casey, and then Casey is just totally kicking everybody's ass on the bus. She's like annihilating everybody. And she is slowly torturing the guy who wanted to have sex with her. So see, I called it right before it happened. Like, don't do it. You're going to piss it off. You're going to piss the demon off. And he did. So I just find that great. So, and then that is where the episode ends. And episode 4 is next week, and I'm very, very excited to watch it. So it looks like we're one step away from the demon being fully in control of Casey. And so this was my review for The Exorcist Season 1, Episode 3. Take care, have a good day, and a good night, depending where you are. This is Ghost Jake. See ya. This is Ghost Jake. See ya on Tuesday, YouTube. Goodbye.